Hello and welcome back to the Dugout podcast. This is episode number 83. We're joining you on transfer deadline day. So there's going to be hopefully some deals for us to talk about. We're going to have a transfer review show tomorrow after the window is shut. We're going to go through each club's window and talk about that. But we're here to talk about the football. And as always, I'm joined by my co host, Ethan Barlow. Ethan, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Another decent weekend of Scottish football action, and of course, it's going to be entertaining tonight to see what clubs that need to do business get some deals over the line on deadline day. I know you're one that loves the concept of deadline day, so that'll be really exciting. But yeah, I'm doing well. How's yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I'll be honest, I'm less excited about it today. Don't know why. I'm just not. I don't know. Doesn't feel like a. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a proper deadline day. I don't know why. But hey
Is
ho.
that maybe because it's on? Sorry, is that maybe because it's on the 2nd of February for whatever reason that we can't work out?
Maybe. Excuse me. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure. It's just not feeling the same. However, it's looking like it might be a busy day for both Rangers and Celtic, our teams. Some other teams, and amongst it as well. Tawanda Maswanisa, Ethan, you said the other day you couldn't believe that he's going to be at Motherwell at the end of this window. He's going to be at Motherwell for the remainder of the season. Rangers are working hard to try and bring in Ryan Derry right now, although they verbally agreed to bring him in the summer. Celtic are close to bringing in two signings, one of them being Jordan Adamu, obviously formerly of RB
Junior,
Salzburg.
Junior Adama.
Sorry, Junior Adamu. Sorry. I always get, for some reason, I always picture him as Jordan, and I don't know why. I do it every single time. Like, even back in the day when he was like a FIFA Wonder Kid or whatever, for some reason. How sometimes when you're younger, you're playing career mode, you do your own commentary. I'd always call him Jordan or something like that. So, no, yeah, Junior Adamu, of formerly of RB Salzburg. That looks to be an exciting signing. So yeah, looking to be a busy deadline day. But we're going to start first of all. Take it back to Thursday for the Europa League. Rangers went to Porto and they compounded the misery of their awful European campaign, losing 3-1. However, Celtic did get the victory at Parkhead, beating FC Utrecht of the Eredivisie 4-2, progressing to the knockout rounds of the Europa League. And they were drawn against Stuttgart. Ethan, just sum up your thoughts on the game and then your reaction to the draw.
Yeah, I think Celtic they pressed well from the start and got in front by a few goals early, 2-0 up in the first 10 minutes, then 3-0 up in the first 20. You thought they were going to be on easy street. They made heavy weather of it, letting the threat back into the game, but ultimately they get the goals and win 4-2, which good result, and they progress. I think we discussed possibly in the past that Hearts and Rangers fans might actually be happy at the prospect of Celtic going through because it means more games that this very light Celtic squad, although we expect them to add to it today, will have to play. And yeah, Stuttgart in the next round will be a difficult draw. They're doing well in the Bundesliga, Champions League team last season, along with Celtic. So yeah, they will not be an easy team to beat. But as I've said in the past, I think Celtic are capable of doing good things in European football this season, especially with Martin O'Neill at the helm and what we've seen so far this season. But yeah, I think the other positive, probably more for Rangers in this scenario, is that I think the first leg's in a couple of weeks' time, but the second leg the following week will come 3 days before Celtic head to Ibrox in the third derby of the season. So yeah, ideally for Rangers, you're wanting Celtic to put a lot into that game and Rangers take advantage of it at Ibrox. But then again, I think we remember when Rangers played 120 minutes in the Europa League, and the following the weekend after they played 120 minutes in the Scottish Cup semi-final with against Celtic, and of course came out on top of that game. I think it was a Carl Starfelt own goal, if I remember correctly. So yeah, they things can play into the matter, but I don't think they'll be used as an excuse. So yeah, good for Celtic to get through. I didn't expect Rangers to really go over to Porto and do much, but they showed how strong a team they are, and that there's, despite Rangers being on a really promising run, there's another level to go for Danny Rowe.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There is still a long way to go for this Rangers side. I mean, they did show signs, but Porto just showed their quality in the end. But at least we do have a team flying the flag in European football in the latter stages, and hopefully Celtic can, you know, push on and win a knockout round in a European competition for the first time since 2004. So yeah, hopefully Celtic can break that duct and keep getting the coefficient points because we desperately need them at the moment. But you know, we'll move on to the SPFL games this weekend, and we'll start on Prime Burst. Sorry, Kilmarnock taking on Aberdeen, and it was a bit mental. Ethan, Kilmarnock came away with a 3-0 win.
Yeah, and they absolutely dominated the Dons. Having watched the highlights and seen what the Kilmarnock fans said, I didn't expect Aberdeen to go to Rugby Park and win comfortably, but at the same time, I didn't expect them to come head back to Aberdeen with a 3-0 defeat. And it could have been more. Kilmarnock had lots of chances. Aberdeen did as well, but I think you've seen in some of the defensive clips as well from Kilmarnock, they were throwing bodies and getting blocks in, that they're really committed to fighting under Neil McCann, and that's really promising for the Kilmarnock fans because I think they've kind of got the feeling that the players have maybe given up on this opportunity to stay in the Scottish Premiership. But a massive result. Obviously, we'll get on to Livingston, but it moves them away from Livingston, moves them closer to nearby St Mirren. So yeah, an excellent result. They took their goals really well, and yeah, an excellent performance from Kilmarnock. And if they are to stay up, this will be the result probably that's ranks near to the top of the importance and the fact that how many games they went without getting a win and then to win so emphatically as well.
Yeah, their first win in 17. They finally broke the duck. And yeah, it was a really good performance, like you said, Ethan. They opened the scoring in the 12th minute. A nice sort of deft touch from Brad Lyons. Aberdeen, once again, though, showing their vulnerability from set pieces. The initial ball is swung in from the corner. Mitov sort of fails to punch it away. It comes back out to Kilmarnock. The ball is played back in by Greg Kelty, and Brad Lyons is there to put it away for 1-0. Just 2 minutes later, Bruce Anderson, former Aberdeen player, had a ball in the net to make it 2. A really nice finish, sort of low and hard across the goalkeeper from Anderson. And then the next highlight point in the we jump all the way to the second half with the 51st minute. Also, as well, we send out our sort of wishes and thoughts to Max Canuster. He was down for a very, very long time, and he had to be sent off. Sorry, not sent off, taken off after a collision. So, hoping he's all right. You never want to see that in football. But a player that was sent off, a wee slip of the tongue there because I was already thinking about this. Graham Shinney was sent off in the 51st minute for a thigh high challenge. The Kilmarnock player comes in on his blind side when he's trying to go for the ball. And although it is maybe a wee bit unlucky, it is a red card.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there was a lot of red cards this weekend. Some of what we'll get onto, and I think are less red cards than this. But yeah, Graham Shinney, he catches him. It's late, nowhere near the ball. It's high, and yeah, I don't think he can have many complaints. And unlike some of the other players that we cast in our worst or most underperforming team of the season at the midpoint on the Kilmarnock side, maybe shut us up a little bit with some of their performances. Brad Lyons getting a goal. I think Thompson was pretty good. Robbie Dees was putting in blocks as well. Graham Shinney certainly probably didn't change the narrative based
He
on this
doesn't. He
game. But
doesn't
I don't
want
think
out the
any of the
team.
Aberdeen
He
players
doesn't
did, in
want out the
fairness.
team. He's going for the captaincy. He's going for the all-time appearance holder, worst team of the season.
Yeah, quite possibly. But yeah, Aberdeen, yeah, really poor. I didn't expect them to lose in this manner. But obviously, come on, go on to get another goal.
Yeah, and it was a terrific finish from Tyrese John Jules. Didn't look like he was going to be able to get it out of his feet, but he does, and it just, there's power, there's accuracy into the top corner, 3-0 to Kelly, job done up the road with the 3 points, and you could see what it meant to the players, Ethan. You could see, you know, when they were 3-0 up, they were all celebrating. You could see, the joy and almost a relief on their faces. They were maybe getting to the realization that they were going to get a win, because you've got to imagine that, through this tough period, there's maybe points where they were thinking, can we win games? The confidence must have been so low, and it must have been so difficult, and it was becoming the norm. So to just get this emphatic victory over the line must be so huge.
Yeah, exactly that. And Neil McCann was under a lot of pressure as well, because despite him not playing, obviously managing the most games since coming into the Kilmarnock job, he needed that win because it was quite toxic around Rugby Park. You could feel that from watching even the highlights, some of the comments from the fans, from obviously what Laurie is telling us on a weekly basis. But this is exactly what they needed, and a positive all round that the two teams around them also don't pick up great results. So yeah, really nice goals from a Kilmarnock point of view. As you said, really good finish from Tyrese John Jules, Bruce Anderson returning the favour after John Jules set him up for the second, but really poor defending from Aberdeen. The fact that he cuts the ball back and he's the first to react and get it in is really poor. But yeah, Aberdeen, they've brought a lot of players in this window, but none of them seem to really be making that positive an impact for Aberdeen. Obviously, they had Lyle Cameron start the match. They had Liam Morrison, the former Celtic defender, starting. He picked up a booking, and then they had Olasanya come off the bench at half time as well. So yeah, three players obviously previously played in Scotland that have come back and not done too well so far. But there's a lot of time for Aberdeen to change their fortunes this season, but they've got to start doing it quick, especially if they want to get into those top six positions. And a few Aberdeen fans, I think, maybe less confident about keeping Peter Leave until the end of the season if this is the kind of performances that Aberdeen are going to turn out on a regular basis. But a player that obviously we'll talk about, I think, in great depth in tomorrow's episode of the transfer review. Finlay Curtis come on to make his Kilmarnock debut right after the third goal, and yeah, they'll need to watch what they're doing with him, because he only started the game in Porto the other night on Thursday, then making a cameo appearance on the Saturday. So yeah, but no, I think that's an absolutely excellent signing and possibly one of the best of the January window for any of the Scottish sides.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've made no secret. I rate Finlay Curtis very highly. But I feel like at Rangers he could make impacts, but I don't think he was ever going to start every single week. And at Kelly he can, and if he's given the opportunity to be sort of the main man in this Kilmarnock side, he could come back to Rangers and make a real impact, because I feel like he's different from a lot of the other loan signings Rangers have loaned out in the past. I mean, I feel like Curtis is a bit better than quite a few of them, and I actually do see maybe a long term future for him at Rangers. Or he comes back to Rangers and he plays really well for a couple of years and then they sell him. But instead of sort of these youngsters sort of being wasted and then sent maybe to like League One or League Two in England for really like low fees or something like that. So yeah, I feel like Curtis could have a future at Rangers, and this loan could be really, really good for him. But we'll move on to Kilmarnock's sort of relegation buddies. They could not get the win. Oh, that would have been a great joke if I was talking about the St Mirren game. But I wasn't talking about the St Mirren game. As soon as I said that, I was like, "Oh, that would have been great." But no, no, I'll be honest. Livingston hosted Motherwell at the spaghetti had, as I like to call it, and Motherwell came away with the 2-0 win to Wanda Maswanisi. Um, Pulling ahead in the goal scorers race at the for top goal scorer in the Premiership. He now has 13 to his name. Benjamin Egren obviously got another goal just behind him now. The first goal was a wee bit weird, I thought, Ethan. It was a nice header from Maswanisi, but the defending was awful, and I don't know what Jerome Prior was doing. He was in no man's land.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. Good pick out from Eliza Just, and a good header from Maswinese to sort of improvise and get it over the goalkeeper. But yeah, Livingston, I think that goal showed why they're where they are in the league and why they've been struggling so much because you just can't defend like that. And it was like that all day. Motherwell had so much space to attack in, and yeah, they just dominated the game from minute 1 to 90, and it's what you've come to expect with this Motherwell team, especially when they are playing against bottom of the league. They dominated possession. They keep another clean sheet. Probably, I think I've said it a few times, but I think looking at the stats, the least joint least goals conceded. I think Motherwell have with Rangers. I think they have the most clean sheets as well. Especially the recent run they've been on, keeping clean sheets. I think they're possibly the best defence in the league. So yeah, and then Maswanisi again, excellent. I said, you said at the top of the show that I'm surprised that he's going to be at Motherwell for the rest of the season, but excellent for them that they get to keep a hold of their talisman. And he's been so good since coming back from AFCON. 5 goals and an assist in 4 games. I think he's probably undebatably the best player in Scotland at the minute.
Yeah, definitely. And his second goal was a really, really nice finish. I just tried to play the ball through. It sort of breaks for Callum Slattery. And then Slattery slides it through to Tawanda Maswanisi, who slots it into the far corner. He comes in from the left-hand side, slots it into the far corner, past Jerome Prior, and that was that. I mean, it could have been more. Eli just had an effort just before that hit the post. Really unlucky there. Livy probably could have scored, but I think it sums up their season. What's his face? McLaren. Um, sort of in the first few minutes of the game had a really, really good opportunity that was saved by Callum Ward. Terrific save. He's been having a terrific season. And then towards the end, they had an opportunity that probably should ball across sort of the face. Someone should have got a toe on it and put it away, but wasn't to be for Livingston. And news coming out of Livingston as well. David Martindale has sacked David Martindale and moved David Martindale into the director of football or position, and David Martindale has appointed Marvin Bartley to replace David Martindale in the managerial dugout.
Yeah, I think that's what you would have expected if someone had told you that David Martindale was no longer going to the Livingston manager or head coach. You would have expected him to still play a part of the club, and that's what he's going to do. And I think it's just Livingston trying anything because they're really struggling. Obviously, no league wins since the second day of the season against Falkirk. And there might not be any wins at all. I think there's no wins at all actually in that run. So that was back in August. So it shows you how much Livingston are really struggling. And they need a change. And if that change is bringing Marvin Bartley up from assistant role to being in charge, obviously he didn't have the most successful time as a head coach. I remember him, it was at Queen of the South when he was complaining about the players been on their PlayStations for too long. I think that was the most sort of memorable thing that came out of his managerial stint. But he's going to have an opportunity to go again. He's obviously a decent coach. Martindale has a lot of trust in him, and yeah, he has the opportunity now to steer this ship away from relegation. But yeah, I think it's too difficult a task. I think for Livingston, I think they're already too gone. I think Kilmarnock were maybe the only hope. They brought a lot of quality in Kilmarnock, it seems, in January, and I just don't know if Livingston can keep up with that, even with St Mirren being relatively poor as well. So yeah, I hope that Livingston can sort of carve something out of this season and compete until the end, but I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. And I think they will go back down to the Championship, and I think that's been our opinion for most of the season. But yeah, I expected a change, but I think I didn't expect David Martindale to be completely on his own outside of Livingston Football Club, and he obviously still has a place there. And he probably always will have a place at Livingston Football Club, and rightfully so, because he's been a legend there.
Yeah, he probably lives at the stadium as well, so they can't make him homeless. But no, fair, yeah, but I agree. He will have. I think he probably will have a role for as long as he wants it, as long as he thinks he can serve the club well. He will have a role there, but yeah, it's not looking good for Livingston. Just on Marvin Bartley, you mentioned his thing at Queen of the South there, but he wasn't too successful on the pitch at Queen of the South. So I'm not sure if this is the move for Livingston to try and stay up if they still think they can. But moving on to Livingston and Kilmarnock's relegation buddies. St Mirren. St Mirren hosted Dundee at the Smiza, and this was a thrilling 0-0 draw. Dundee, probably from the highlights that I saw, looked the better of the two teams. The highlight of the game, though, was a red card for Jake Young. Very similar to a red card we're going to be talking about later on, I think. However, I don't know, this is going to sound really crazy, but I feel this one's a bit harsher than the one later on. Bear with me for a moment. I feel like his momentum sort of takes him into Halliday's. He's not. I don't think he's wild out of control. He's just running and he tries to stop, and unfortunately, he stamps on him. And yeah, I can see why it's been given, but I think it is a bit harsh.
I just don't. I don't even know if it's harsh. I just don't think it's a red card. I don't know why it's a red card. I want to sort of know why it's a red card, because I just think as you said, his momentum takes him through. He's got the ball, he loses it, and he's going into a tackle. He's not going in with a lot of force. He's not so late to the point that you're wondering what he's doing. It's not really that high either. I think Bradley Halliday, the debutant for Dundee, makes the most of it. I think it was him on the opposite end of the challenge anyway. But yeah, not the best. Would that be home debut for Jake Young? Yeah, home debut and full debut for Jake Young. Unfortunate. I don't think it should have been a red card, but it didn't really change the game too much by the looks of it. It was a pretty even game. Both teams created chances, both sort of lacked the quality to find the back of the net, and I think it sums up, especially St Mirren's season, the lack of goals they've scored in the Scottish Premiership this season is pretty remarkable. 17 and 23. Dundee, the second lowest scorers, 19 and 24. So these teams have been struggling to find the back of the net all season, and I think this match showed that. And yeah, maybe Dundee aren't completely safe of the relegation places yet if they're going to turn in performances like that. But not the worst point for Dundee, but St Mirren need a win, I think, because that's two matches now, or three matches now. Well, although they beat Livingston in the on penalties, they obviously drew with them in the league, and then draw with Dundee, who are the nearest team above them. So, yeah, St Mirren a difficult run. Dundee have maybe come out of that little purple patch they were on, you could say, following the Derby win. But yeah, just a really poor game of football that lacked any quality, and I think a draw was a deserved result for both teams.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
maybe 0 points was deserved for both teams actually. Uh,
Oh, harsh, really harsh.
wait, was it is it really hard? Is it really harsh though? I think was it not Gerard Piqué that suggested that before that if a game finishes nothing each, then the teams get no points.
Yeah, but Gerard Piqué plays in that like mad, like the baller league before baller league, if you know what I mean. He
Yeah,
played
well, I
the
think this is never going to.
he played and managed
Sorry,
them.
it's never going to become an actual thing, but yeah, it's a crazy idea. But yeah, both these sides were really poor.
Okay, moving on to Tannadice, and this is certainly an interesting game to talk about. Two red cards, three goals, a penalty, loads of things to go over. But one thing I just wanted to start with, obviously Hearts won 3-0 against Dundee United. I'm just looking at the statistics here, and next to expected goals, it says for Hearts 4.89. And that is really, really, really high. Normally, you don't get numbers that high. I mean, Celtic under Nancy did that a couple of times, but this is that this is a really, really tremendous stat, and I think it shows you how much Hearts were all over them. They did score within the opening 11 minutes. Pierre Landry Cabori, really, really nice cross across the face from Jack Milne. Cabori's in there to finish it. 1-0 to Hearts.
Harry Milne,
Yeah, oh God, I'm having a stinker with the names today. Um, I've got the thing is, I've got
easily
Harry
mistaken.
Milne. I've got his name right bloody in front of me, and I've still called him Jack. I don't know what's going on. And then in the 24th minute, Amar Fatah is sent off for a very similar challenge to the Jack Young one. Ethan, is it same thinking for you?
Maybe not the exact same thinking. I think this one, I could see maybe a little bit more red than this one, but at the same time, I still think it's a pretty harsh red card. I think Fata, he's late, same kind of thing as Jake Young. It's a pretty easy comparison to make, but yeah, I think that's a really harsh red card. I've got to say, especially after Hearts had already went 1-0 up. Really well taken goal from Kabore, as you said. I think he struggled for the best part of the game against Celtic last weekend, but good that he finds his goal scoring form for the Jambos. And I said that these guys that Hearts are bringing in to replace the key injured players, your Devlins and your Shanklins they're not gonna be mugs, so to say. That they've obviously showed up really well in the Jamestown analytics, and yeah, Kabori showed that he knows where the back of the net is, and I think it was Shanklin who was on Sky Sports on Saturday night said that yeah, that he doesn't expect to walk straight back into the team when he's healed from his hamstring injury, because if Kabori keeps turning in goals like this, then you can't take him out of the team. And yeah, he was in the right position. I've got to say, it was poor defending from Dundee United. I thought they should have uh, dealt with the cross better, but good ball from Harry Milne and good finish from Kabori. But yeah, I think the red card maybe ruined the game. But as you said, Hearts absolutely dominated, and for a
Yeah.
team that's overperformed their XG slightly this season, that'll certainly help equate that. Not performed their over XG into the point where I think there's a crisis over the hill, maybe like you could have seen with Aberdeen last season, but Yeah, a really good performance from Hearts, and they took full advantage of the red card when it came.
Yeah, yeah. And then they did get a penalty in the 29th minute. Alexandros Kizridis stepped up and put it away. Claudio Braga was brought down and sort of on the edge of the area by Ryan Strain. I've seen a lot of people talking about these decisions, but I think the Amar Fata one's the only contentious one in the game. I think the this is pretty cut and dry, and the one we'll talk about later is pretty cut and dry. Um, what did you make of this, Ethan? I
Yeah,
thought I thought it was a penalty factually.
yeah, I think it is. It's one that I'm like from a Dundee the United fan point of view. I think they'll probably be quite frustrated with it because I think it's really stupid defending from Ryan Strain. Because it's certainly in the box when he makes the tackle, so that's not up for debate. But I think he just gives Claudio Braga the opportunity to go down when he doesn't really need to. There's not much in it, but he doesn't take the ball. He takes Braga out, and it's well played from Braga to win the penalty, and then well tucked away from Kazridis, who's obviously not the usual penalty taker.
6 goals and 7 assists for Alexandros Kizridis this season. He's terrific. He's been terrific. Um, Narrowly missing out on our team of the season. There's so many that could break in. It's mental. Well, I think you had Kizridis and I had Braga, but um, yeah, if we jump from the 29th minute all the way up to the 75th minute, there's a bit of a scuffle between the Hearts and Dundee United players. And Panucci Kamara decides to drop his head into the face of Mark Leonard. It wasn't, like a mad headbutt or anything. It wasn't Zinedine Zidane. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, it was just stupidity again. Same as Ryan Strain. I think it's just stupidity from Pinucci Kamara, and Mark Leonard's on the receiving end again. He was on the receiving end of the Amar Fata challenge, I believe, and he certainly makes the most of it. But fair enough, and you just can't do that, especially right in front of the referee. So yeah, just ignorance from Kamara there, and I think Dundee United had possibly lost their heads by that point. They'd been on the back foot all game, and yeah, just a stupid one. I think Jim Goodwin was trying to defend his midfielder after the game, but yeah, I think it was pretty defenceless. And yeah,
Then
I
one of the
dare forget
Dundee United
Tannadice.
coaches got sent off as well. So 3 red cards for
Yeah,
Dundee United. Um,
yeah, yeah, it was.
Shortly after that, 3 red cards for Dundee United, 3 goals for Hearts. Pierre Landry Cabore grabbed his second of the night. Um, Nice spin from him to get the shot off, but it was deflected. Ashley Maynard Brewer was already on his way down to try and save the shot, but it's deflected up and over him. He gets a glove on it, but he can't keep it out. He bounces in. It bounces into the net. I would think it was Braga or Kizridis, very restrained not to steal Landry Cabore's second goal, and 3-0, job done. Hearts uh, go. Hearts are now 7 clear after the results on Sunday. And if you're a Jambos fan, Ethan, you must be loving life right now.
Yeah, six clear, but yeah,
Oh,
at the same
is it?
point,
Sorry.
yeah, six clear. Uh, but yeah, exactly. Same point you made. A great weekend for Hearts. They go to a tough ground where some people maybe would have tipped them to drop points, and they win convincingly. Their striker, who's obviously the replacement for arguably their best player, Lawrence Shankly, gets on the score sheet because Reedus is back amongst the goals. Yeah, I really enjoyed because Reedus as well, not taking the stealing Cabore's goal, you could say, on the goal line, and I think that probably shows the spirit of the Heart squad that they're all happy to contribute. It's a team effort, and that's what it needs to be for Derek McInnes's team. And people keep saying Hearts are going to fall away and this and that, but I don't think there's any immediate signs of that. Despite the injuries, they've looked just as strong as they were beforehand. And yeah, a massive win for Hearts. And yeah, Although some people will say, and yeah, it's quite fair to say, I would say that they're maybe getting the rub of the green when it comes to the refereeing decisions at the minute. But every team usually goes through the phase of that. You've got to take advantage of it, and that's what Hearts done. Even with, I know it's easy to say because Dundee United are down to 10 men for most of the game, but Hearts absolutely dominated. Yeah, and maybe the only positive for United was that uh, as you mentioned, Ashley Maynard Brewer made some good saves, eight in total, preventing two goals. I know he maybe could have done better for the third goal, but from where Kabori was and the power he put on the strike, would have been difficult to save. So that's maybe an area that Jim Goodwin's addressed because the previous two goalkeepers have made clear I don't think were good enough for the Premiership. So maybe that's the positive United can take from the day, but a really disappointing result at Tannadice and back where they were really after the defeats, the heavy defeat at Celtic Park and obviously defeating the Derby. Good that they won over Scott Brown's Air in the Cup. But yeah, a difficult game next as well, going to Easter Road, so they need to start picking up points, especially if they have any aspirations for top six, which may be a stretch too far for Dundee United in back-to-back seasons, considering the money everyone else has spent in the league as well.
Yeah. Sorry, I caught me at the wrong moment there. So moving on
I
to
was just gonna, sorry, I was just gonna make. Do we want to discuss the James Wilson rumours, or will we leave that until tomorrow's episode?
um, I
Well,
don't.
we'll obviously learn if it happens by then, so we could just leave it. But
Yeah, I think we should just leave it. It's a wee bit
yeah,
weird, a wee bit out of the blue. Because he's barely played this season, so I don't. I honestly don't understand Arsenal's interest, but um, anyway, so moving on to Sunday, Rangers travelled to Edinburgh to play Hibernian at Easter Road. And it was a disappointing performance from Rangers. Hibs maybe feel that they could have came away with the victory. Jack Butland made some terrific saves during the game. However, Rangers are toothless up top. They couldn't really get anything going in the attacking areas. And they dropped points, allowing Celtic to pull back level with them, allowing Hearts to go further ahead in the title race. A good point for Hibs, Ethan. Disappointing result for Rangers.
yeah, a really good point for Hibs, and I didn't expect them to get anything from this game based on their recent performances. Obviously, we'll touch on it more yesterday, but the sale of yeah, touching it more yesterday, touching it more tomorrow. The sale of Kieran Bowie for a club record fee, obviously missing probably their two best players outside of him and Josh Mulligan and Jamie McGrath. The run they've been on, being beat heavily at Falkirk, losing out to their old manager in the Scottish Cup with his Dunfermline team and with the run Rangers have been on. I know they obviously lost in Portugal the other night, but I expected them to win this match, not easily because going to Easter Road's always a tough place to go, despite Rangers having an excellent record there in uh, the Scottish Premiership. Certainly, I think it was something ridiculous years ago since the last time Hibs beat Rangers in the Scottish Premiership. So yeah, but a really positive performance and point for Hibs, and yeah, I think you're right to say that they maybe feel they should have taken one of the chances that came their way and got all three because apart from the maybe the well probably the highlight of the match when Mikey Moore found the back of the net, Rangers didn't have too many chances. Jack Butland had a good performance from what I've seen. Six saves and got the player of the match on football. So that probably says enough about the former England goalkeeper and what he contributed to Rangers and the game yesterday.
Yeah, just on that Mikey Moore goal, the offside was a wee bit contentious for me. I think I don't know if you've seen the lines, Ethan, but it looks like they've drawn it
Yeah, I
from
have.
his arm pit or whatever. Obviously you can be offside with your armpit, as we've seen in the past. But I think that's a bit confusing because if somebody scored like with their armpit, would it be ruled out? It looks like they've drawn it from the arm. My understanding was it was below the t-shirt line, was a handball or something like that. You know what I'm trying to say? It's very, I think it's dubious at best. I understand why they've given it, and they've erred on the side of caution. I think, in my opinion. I don't know if I'm being a bit biased there, but I felt it was really difficult to tell. It looked like they just drew it from his arm.
On first glance, I thought it looked very tight, but the way that I think you can just see, like if you look at it, and it kind of, I don't know why, but the lines on the pitch and looking across, it kind of makes it look like I think it was Rocky Bashiri who was the least advanced defender for Hibs that was probably could have been playing him on side, but I think you can see just without the lines that Mikey Moore is maybe just a little bit offside. It is pretty tight. There's not much in it. I think I think it is the armpit they draw from, despite it being the t-shirt line that gets mentioned. I don't really understand that point of view, but I think it probably was just about offside. I've seen a few conspiracy theorists on online looking into it and stuff like that. But you always get that with these kind of things. But I think what we've got to do is trust the officials to get it right in this scenario. Although the camera angle isn't the best, they're doing with what they're working with what they have, and unfortunately, it's not the best angle to really tell whether he's offside or not. But I think they possibly got the right decision in the end. Although I'm not 100% confident in saying that, but I'd be more confident saying he was offside than on.
Yeah, yeah, I'd probably agree with that. Moving on to the Celtic game at 3 o'clock on the Sunday, they came away with the 2-0 win over Falkirk. Thomas Savinchara opened the scoring in the 39th minute with a wonderful sort of glancing header evading Scott Bain off the post and in. Benjamin Nigren made it two in the second half in the 62nd minute. Some terrific build up leading up to that goal. Some really nice play from Celtic, sort of on the left side of the pitch, and Nigren with a terrific finish to put the game to bed. However, Falkirk did play quite well in this game, Ethan. Casper Schmeichel actually got man of the match on FotMob. He made some good saves. He looks like he's having a mini renaissance. He made a good save last week against Hearts. I'm not sure if he made any in the Utrecht game, but he made a few good saves in this game to sort of keep Falkirk out. Maybe a bit more convincing for Celtic, but it seems like a similar story to the reverse fixture a couple of weeks ago. Falkirk just couldn't, finish their chances, and Celtic punished them for it.
Yeah, I don't think I think this is maybe one of the games that I look at the stats and the stats maybe don't do the game justice watching it. I don't think Celtic were great by any means, but for Falkirk to have more shots than Celtic, I didn't expect that when I looked at it. But yeah, Falkirk came and they played their game like you expected them to do under John McGlynn. They went for a attacking setup, more of an attacking setup than they played in the reverse fixture because they had Louis Marsh and from the start, who is kind of by trade a striker but can play in behind like he did on this occasion. But yeah, Falkirk were good and caused problems for Celtic, and they made it a really sort of, I don't know, there wasn't much in the game at all until Thomas Chivanchara gets his first goal and his home debut. And as you said, an absolutely excellent header. Probably going to go down as one of my favourite goals of the season, just because of the way the sort of angle he needs to find to get it into that corner and beat Scott Bain, who on an occasion where Celtic play against two of their former goalkeepers, I think Scott Bain still showed why he's possibly the better of the two between himself and Vasilius Barkas, who made some good saves. Um, but yeah, a good header from Chivanchar, another assist for Kieran Tierney, and when Celtic got that goal, you never really seen Falkirk getting an equaliser. I think Celtic possibly played better in the second half. They looked more comfortable and had a lot more of a hold on the game. But even at 1-0, there was always a bit of a nervousness that Falkirk could get an equaliser, but obviously never came. And then really well worked goal for the second from Benjamin Egan, who just keeps scoring. I think Scott Bain maybe will feel he should have done better with this one, but it's a good strike from Egan and well worked between himself and Cal McGregor. As Daisen Maeda was nowhere to be seen on the left wing. I think he was pressing upfield, but yeah, a good performance and result from Celtic. Especially, I said to you the other day that I expected Celtic to possibly drop points in this one just because it's the same players playing over and over again. And I think that might be a problem Celtic run into the future. They're expected to bring two new players in today. Then obviously the two they brought in look quite decent so far. I thought Julian Araujo, he got the stadium man of the match, and I thought he was really solid. And he just looks like a different level to what Celtic currently have available in that position. And yeah, a good win for Celtic and a good day, especially when Rangers obviously dropped points at Easter Road, and now they are level with Rangers, only split by goals scored. So yeah, really narrow margins in that, but ultimately Hearts are the team to chase in the minute, and Hearts have made it so that already made it so it's not in Celtic's hands to win the league, and come their trip to Ibrox, if they can come away with even a draw on that occasion, then they'll take out of Rangers' hands as well if they obviously maintain a better record than Rangers until then. So yeah, a really good day for Celtic, and a good day for Hearts. But what hasn't been a good day for Hearts this season, apart from probably losing to Hibs in the derby, the only concern for Celtic probably was Yang going off at the start of the second half. I didn't really see too much. I was puzzled when he went off, but it must have been one that the coaching staff was aware of at half time. And James Forrest came on and was okay, but yeah, good win for Celtic. Not the worst performance or result for Falkirk. I think they'll still kick on and be favourites to make the top six. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it for the games this weekend. We've obviously got some midweek fixtures coming up, the first of which is tomorrow, St Mirren hosting Hearts at the Smiza, 8 o'clock kickoff, and then we have 5 games on Wednesday. Dundee versus Motherwell, Hibernian versus Dundee United, Livingston versus Falkirk, Rangers versus a resurgent Kilmarnock, and Aberdeen versus Celtic. All those games are at 7:45, except from the Aberdeen Celtic game, which is at 8 o'clock for TV reasons. So, yeah, more football to look forward to, and we've got the January window to look over tomorrow. We'll be back to talk about that. Hopefully, there's some exciting deadline day signings to talk about. But yeah, thank you for watching and listening to today's podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe, leave your comments, follow us on Spotify, follow us on YouTube. Make sure to check out the TikTok and the Twitter. Hopefully, I will have a couple of videos out on TikTok for some January deadline day stuff. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you to Ethan as always. Goodbye.